Don't pay me, do it yourself, I show you how. There's one invisible number that controls when your booking arrives, how you should price, and whether you should be nervous or relaxed about your calendar right now. Most owners have never calculated properly. Manager rarely explained it. Honestly, because they panic, it prevents is half the reason you pay them. That number is called lead time. And the next 8 minutes, you'll understand it better than most professionals. I'm Steve, 20 years in property management across Germany, Switzerland and Greece. Up to 300 units at peak, and today I run Xeno Management in Orlando while teaching owners like you to self-manage through Xeno Academy. Lead time is simply the gap between the day a guest books and the day they check in. Sounds trivial. Here is the fundamental law. The bigger the group, the earlier they book. Think about why. A family of 10 planning a week near the parks has to align school breaks, get time off work, book 8 flights and convince grandma. That decision gets made 6 to 12 months out. Meanwhile, a couple booking a weekend getaway decides on Tuesday for Friday. A business traveler books it the day before. Same market, same street, completely different clocks. Now here is why it matters so much for your money. First, it defines when empty means a problem. If you own a large family home and you have nothing on the books for peak school holiday weeks that are 5 months away, that's a real signal because your guest is shopping right now. If you own a 1-bedroom condo with nothing on the books 5 months out, that's completely normal. Your guest doesn't exist yet. They haven't even had the flight about where to go on vacation. Second, lead time tells you when to drop and when to hold. For big properties, the pool of large groups shrinks at the date approach. 3 months out, there are still families shopping. 3 weeks out, very few groups of 10 planning anything. So on large homes, if the date is approaching and it's still open, you drop early because the buyer who pays top dollar is already left the market. You're now selling to smaller groups who feels like they're getting a mansion for a bargain. And something is better than an empty week, right? Small properties are the exact opposite. Couples, solo travelers book late. So late availability is where your demand actually lies. Panicking 2 months out and splashing prices on a studio is burning money before the store even opens. On small units, you hold longer and you make your adjustments inside the booking window, close to the date where the real customers are shopping. You see the pattern? Same instinct. Calendar empty, drop the price. Is correct for one property type and destructive for the other. This exactly is why copying a random YouTube guru pricing advice without knowing your lead time is just gambling. Third, lead time decides where an event strategy makes sense. When a big event comes to town, a convention, a game, a festival, big properties feel it early, small properties feel it late. If prices in your market spike for an event 9 months away and your own studio don't expect bookings yet, watch the actual demand comes through the occupancy data as the date approaches and the price into a real demand, not into hope. I'll do a whole video on event pricing because owners lost a lot of money on exactly this recently. So, how to find your lead time? 10 minutes, no software needed. Open your reservation history. For your last 20 bookings, write down 2 dates. When they was booked, when it checked in. Subtract. Now look at the middle of that list. Not the average, because one crazy booking made a year in advance will distort everything. The median, that is your booking window. While you are there, split it once more. Peak season bookings versus off-season bookings. you almost always find your lead time is longer for peak dates and shorter for quiet dates. That gives you 2 windows, 2 different alarm clocks for 2 different times a year. And now set your waypoints. A waypoint is the calendar distance at which an empty date becomes an action item. On big family homes, I want peak weeks showing bookings 4 to 6 months out. If not, I review price and visibility. Small condo, I don't even look until 14 days out. At 7 days, with nothing while the market is busy, I make major last-minute adjustments, not before. This is exactly the framework that lets you stop refreshing your calendar with NXT every morning. You check your waypoints once or twice a week. You act only when the waypoint trips, and the rest of the time you leave your price alone and relax. Live your life. That, by the way, is the difference between owners who burn out self-managing after 4 months and owners who run the rental in 3 focused hours a week. In my free webinar, I go through exactly this. We calculate lead time on real listings, set waypoints for different property types, and I show you where to find the market level booking data that tells you whether demand is early or late in your neighborhood. It's free, no credit card, and the link in the description below. If you are self-managing a rental anywhere in the United States, this webinar is for you. Because look, a property manager charges 20 to 30% of your revenue. And a big part of that you're paying for is that initial numbers like this. But it isn't magic. You can do it yourself and it's learnable. Now, this is your homework. Pull your last 20 bookings tonight. Calculate the medium lead time overall and peak versus off-season. Set 1 waypoint per season. Then put the phone down and stop staring at far future. Your guests aren't there yet. Don't pay me, do it yourself. I'll show you how. Free webinar and the link below. See you next time, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell.